So I flew in on August 2nd, 2005, and I flew in with two other missionaries, two elders that had already learned French growing up. They'd been in French immersion schools, and they had been called to work particularly with the Chinese population in Paris. So they'd learned Chinese in the training center and had moved forward with both languages under their belt. So when we arrived in the field, I'd learned French, but it was still kind of unstable French, very error-filled French. And I remember arriving and I was so nervous. The day that I left the missionary training center, I threw up. I was just so completely nervous about moving forward with it and thinking there is no way I'm up to this. I am not ready for this. I thought, God knows I'm not ready for this. How can this be happening? And I thought, okay, I know exactly what's going to happen. I am going to fly in, and my mission president is going to take one look at me, and being the inspired man that he is, he's going to say, you're not really ready for this, are you? And he's going to send me back home. And I was really convinced that is how it was going to play out, and thought, oh, what a horrible ending to my mission to end so early. And I flew in, and the mission president was there, and he gave us all hugs and was so happy to see me, and I was so confused. I thought, how can he feel happiness? Doesn't he know he's about to send me home? Like, maybe the revelation hasn't hit yet. Maybe he hasn't been inspired about this yet. He's going to get that inspiration while he's driving back and while we're taking the train in. And so we started taking the train in, and I remember as we were going through the airport, the two other missionaries speaking Chinese, they had some Chinese copies of the Book of Mormon with them. And before we even got down to the train station in the bottom of the airport, they had given away 4 or 5 copies of the Chinese Book of Mormon in France. I didn't know there were that many Chinese people in France, but they were able to give it out. And I'm struggling to even talk to anyone about the Book of Mormon in French and just trying to get someone interested. So I'm beating myself up thinking, oh, yeah, I was right. Not ready for this. And we take the train in, and we then would have an interview with our mission president, and he would decide what missionary would be our first companion in our field to train us, to be our trainer. And I remember thinking, okay, well, it'll be in the interview. That's when he'll get the revelation, because then it's the one-on-one interaction. That's when God's really intervening, and he'll say, okay, who should be the trainer? And God will say, no one, send him home. And the interview went great. And he was happy to see me, and so welcoming and so warm. And I, again, was so puzzled by this. And I then thought, okay, well, while he's praying about who my trainer should be tonight, that's when he'll get it. And again, the same thing. Next morning, happy to see me, sent me off with my trainer, and I went to my first area. And it was a little while later that I realized, oh my gosh, I'm going to be here for 2 years. I can't believe this is really happening. I'm here for 2 years.